My hair is so poofy today. You guys, I gotta get my dahlia sprouts into their own little container like the ones that I have here because they are absolutely huge. So let me take you how to do that. I know many of you are doing this for the first time this year and you keep on asking me questions. I got like 3 emails yesterday about how to do this because you guys study about the same time and have the same growth probably, hopefully. So let me show you how easy it is to do it. But I hope that if you guys aren't pre-sprouting your tubers, your dahlia tubers, that you can maybe get inspired to do it and get free dahlias. The tubers that I have right here were placed in regular potting mix on the 14th of February. So they had been in here for about a month already. And this is the growth that I have gotten. It is beautiful. This guy is probably about 4 or 5 inches tall already. It's definitely ready to be put into their own container so the plants can start doing their own thing. But the tubers that I have right here in the middle were the first ones that started sprouting like the quickest. And about 2 weeks ago or so, I had to cut the sprouts and I removed them from the tuber, which I'll show you here in a minute, and I put them in their own little containers because I just couldn't wait and I didn't have the time to make a video at the time. So I figured I'll just wait later until the rest were long enough, big enough to be cut, and then I will show you guys. But this is basically what these tubers have been doing in the month that they have been here. I have them in a warm room under LED lights. You guys know how my setup is over here on the side. And I have been giving them a little bit of water. I actually have been watering from the bottom, which is this tray right here. And probably can't tell from the picture, but I have plenty of roots. I have plenty of roots that are going. So I'll show you what I'll do with the tubers after I remove the sprouts as well. But here and there, maybe once, twice a week, I will make sure to give them a little bit of water so they can start waking up and they can start sprouting. And it has been a month and these guys are definitely ready to be taken care of. But a lot of things that I noticed and a lot of things that you're going to find is that some tubers are better for sprouting than others. In the past, I even had tubers that didn't really give me a sprout right away, but they started producing a bunch of fruits. So you're gonna find that not every single tuber that you have produces great sprouts, and not even at the same time. So just play with it, especially if you have different varieties. This variety right here, Arabian Night, which is the two tubers that I have here, gave me 2 beautiful, beautiful sprouts. So even now, if I just leave those sprouts on the tubers, I will have 4 plants instead of 2. But these guys, these are definitely ready. These guys I'm going to wait just a little bit more. So I'm just going to have extra tubers, extra dahlias. The dahlias that I'm going to be getting from the sprouts are going to be exactly the same dahlia, a clone of the main tuber. That's a great thing about it because you're not wondering if you're going to get the same blooms. And I'm very, very excited because I do love Arabian Night. It's one of my favorites in a dark red color. So, okay, for this part, what we're going to need is a very, very sharp knife. If you have a one of those blades, you can use that, but something that is really, really sharp. And what we're going to do is that we're going to try to get a tiny little piece, just a tiny, tiny little piece of the tuber. We're not just gonna jank this up. We're gonna give it a better chance. And from my experience, if you take a little tiny, tiny piece of the tuber with the sprout, then your chances are a lot better to get these into a full plant. So what I'm going to do, very, very carefully, I'm going to make a few like cuts, one on each side. It's hard to do this when you're also trying to record. But I'm basically going from one side and onto the other, trying to make a cut so that I can just get the tuber, a little piece of the tuber that is. And sometimes it's really hard, especially if the sprout is in between 2 pieces of tuber. . There we go. It's happening now. There you go. So there it is. So you have a little tiny piece of the tuber with the sprout. Just want to so that more accessible. There you go. Look at that. That is perfect. That is a perfect cut with a tiny piece of the tuber. And I do want to make sure that I don't mix these sprouts. I want to make sure that I have them labeled, because if not, I can easily forget about which one is which. For this guy right here, I am going to have to do a little bit of digging, because the sprout is coming from the tuber, which is all the way. The roots are massive. The roots are definitely massive, and I have to get them out of here after these guys are done. Okay, so you can see how the roots are definitely huge on this tuber. I can even pick it up well. I'm gonna remove this a little bit, so you can see how the sprout is coming all the way from underneath this tuber here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to clean as much soil as possible without hurting the sprout. And once I get a good view of how everything is coming from, I'm just going to try to make a cut. Gosh, this guy has tons of roots, and I might have to get both of them at the same time here. There we go. There we go. So you can tell this guy was coming from underneath the tuber there, and I got both of them here. And what I'm going to do is that, because these guys can get really huge, what I'm going to get is that I'm going to separate them. See how they're kind of like coming from the same spot. And I'm not going to rip them apart. I am just going to use my knife and cut this, so it's a nice clean cut. There you go. So then I have two pieces here, two sprouts with a little piece of tuber, and these are from my Arabian Night. I'm gonna put them on the side, and I'm using like regular tape. These guys right here, they're not too big. They'll probably be good in another week, but I'm actually just going to leave this on the tuber as I move the tuber. I'll show you this in a minute. I'm not going to worry about it. It's just too small for trying to make it work. Now that I remove all of my cuttings from my dahlia tubers, I need to make sure that I have them in containers where they can thrive. And I recently got more containers, you guys. These are from Bootstrap Farmer. These are the 2.5-inch containers. And I already had these guys in red, in yellow, and green. But I love that they came out with a clear container, because for these guys, especially for dahlia cuttings, I can see if there's any root action or any other plant really that I'm trying to root. These guys will be great to use. I don't know, it's little things for me, you guys. I have plenty of these guys, and I didn't think that I need any more, but recently they posted something on their Instagram saying that they came out with clear containers, and I just grab a few. So this is what I'm going to use for these guys. I have 6. That's really all I need for this project. Ooh. Okay, it's a little bit of water. All right, now that we have our regular potting mix with a little bit of water, you know that I like to use moist soil whenever I'm working with containers or really anything indoors. I have them here ready to go, and I have 6 pieces. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll have 6 extra dahlia plants that are going to be a combination of these guys here. And I'm really excited to show you this because I didn't know until probably last year was the first year that I kind of noticed that you can do this. So if you get your tubers, your dahlia tubers earlier in the year, you can definitely wake them up, start sprouting them in just one tray or something where you can just add a little bit of soil. So I am going to show you how easy it is to do that. And actually, these guys are getting a little sad because from moving the camera and everything, these guys have been out already. So I have these sprout that it came from a Milena tuber. And what I'm going to do, since I need to bury this spot right here, I am going to start removing the bottom leaves. Not just peeling them, but just kind of pinching them. That makes sense. And I do have enough there to bury in the soil, but I'm going to go one more set from the bottom leaves. Again, don't you just peel them away, just kind of cut them, pinch them. And then now I have one sprout right there that is absolutely gorgeous. It has 2 sets of leaves that I removed, plus the bottom piece of tiny tuber that I removed from the main dahlia tuber. And those will be ideal for a place ideal to grow roots. So hopefully, if we give it enough water, if we have very nice warm temperatures, this will become a dahlia tuber that will be the exact same replica from the tuber that I removed the sprout. And then it will produce tubers. I haven't had any problems with other dahlia sprouts producing tubers the first year, but I guess it could happen. So I'm just excited to get fruit plants, honestly. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to grab my container where I have them. And normally the idea will be to make a opening here in the middle to put my sprout, but I'm not going to do that because I personally want to see something develop right away. So I am going to go here in one of the corners. If your container is round, I guess you're out of luck. But I'm going to go right here in one of the corners. That's actually too deep. And I'm going to make a tiny little hole there. And that is where I am placing my sprout. You do want to make sure that the soil is completely touching the sprout. And then why am I doing this? Why am I doing this on the side and not in the middle? And this is just for a personal choice, you guys. You can definitely do it right here in the middle. The only reason why I am doing it right here on the side is because I would like to see when and if I get any roots developing on this here. And because of these clear containers, I can easily do that. And that is one. This guy is a Milena, which I already have my here. So I'm going to grab the other Milena sprout. And again, from the bottom leaves, I'm just going to pinch. I'm definitely going to pinch the second set of leaves. And you do want to make sure that you leave some leaves here on the top, plenty, so that that the sprout can get its energy. Again, I'm just making an opening right there. Needs to be bigger. There we go. Always label this guy right here. This one is Arabian Night. Again, I'm going to remove the first bottom set of leaves. and I think that I'm going to leave it there. Why? Because if I remove these two guys right here, the one in the middle is super, super tiny. I'm afraid that it may not do well. Again, I have a tiny little hole right here, and I'm just placing this, gently pushing it in so that the soil and everything touches around. Perfect. Now I have all of these guys right here. They're ready to start producing those roots. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put them in one of my trays so that I can bottom water, but also if I ever need to spray them, I left enough space from the bottom of the soil to the top of the container so that if I ever just need to come here and just give them a little bit of water, then I can do that. But I am not going to put any humidity domes, even though I have them on the tray where I have them, just because I'm afraid that I'm going to hurt the plants more than I will help them. That's just a personal choice. I know that a lot of people do have a humidity dome with their dahlia sprouts that they are trying to root, so it's just a personal choice. If you want to try it that way, go ahead and do it. Like I said in many videos, I'm just showing you how I'm doing this, and it may not be the correct way of doing it, but that's how things work for me. So okay, so now that I have my sprouts going in their own little containers, what do I do with these tubers? That's a question that you guys were asking me in a couple of messages through Instagram. What do I do with the tubers now? They're next to each other. Are they going to stay there until they're ready to be put outside? What do I do? And this is what I'm doing, you guys. I choose to do this in one whole tray, all of my dahlia tubers that I wanted to pre-sprout. I chose to do this in one tray because of space. It's easier for me just to have one tray with everything than to have a bunch of different containers that are going to take a lot of space. And now that I'm done taking sprouts from these guys, I definitely need to move these guys into their own individual containers. And I know it's going to be a hard work removing these guys because they're already, I know that they have tons of roots going already. You can see at the bottom there, it's just a mess there. So before they get even worse with the roots, I just going to place them in their own containers where they're going to hopefully spend the rest of the time indoors before I can take them outside. And that, like I said, that has worked for me before. So let me show you. These are the containers that I am going to be using for potting up, or not potting up, for moving my dahlia tubers so that they can have the rest of the time growing here. These are 5-inch containers from Bootstrap. Guys, these things are strong. I know that I mentioned this a lot in my videos before, but I love using Bootstrap Farmer products because they, honestly, the quality, I know some of you messaged me before telling me that you got your first order from them and that you were extremely happy. And if you haven't tried them, I encourage you to order something from them, especially now with everybody starting their seeds indoors. I absolutely love them. From year one, this is my 4th season growing from seed, but from year one, I tried a couple of their products and I just fell in love. And year after year, I have been adding to my collection of goodies from them. And I am very proud to say that this video is sponsored by Bootstrap Farmer. They are a company based here in the United States, and they started with the idea of producing heavy duty trays for growers back in 2015. And since then, they have been providing growers big and small, even home gardeners like you and me, with quality products. If year after year you have been experiencing buying the cheap 10x20 trays that you can find anywhere locally at the beginning of the spring, you know how flimsy they are. They can break really easily, and year after year, you're just wasting plastic and having to buy new containers year after year. Bootstrap Farmer believes in making a product that you only need to buy once, and believe me, they will last you for a while. And if you're anything like me, you're going to love their selection of colors. You guys, the colors that they offer in all of their different sizes are amazing. I just love coming into my grow room and seeing all the variety. Even if I don't have anything blooming inside, the colors that I get from my containers just makes me happier. But also, if you have never checked their website, you definitely should. They offer free resources like tutorials and how-tos. And I don't know about you, but I love when a company provides that type of education. If you are an experienced or just a beginner gardener who wants to start seeds at home, I highly recommend that you check Bootstrap Farmer. Okay, so I have my containers, my 5-inch containers, and the idea is that I'm just going to move these tubers into these pots, but that might be easier said than done. I am going to start with my Mirena, and I'm going to do actually. So whenever I have to divide something, being them extra wet is easier. That's plenty of water. That's plenty of water. And some of these, like this guy didn't give me anything as far as sprouts. What I'm going to do is that I'm not going to pot this guy. It hasn't, after a month, it has no roots and it didn't give me any sprouts. So that's what happens when you buy things at Meijer or Lowe's sometimes. Okay. Wow, look at that. Look at that root system. So this guy has a sprout here and it has plenty of roots. And like I mentioned, some tubers are better at producing sprouts than others, but if they are alive, they will start giving you all kinds of roots. So the idea is that I have way too much soil here. So what I'm going to do, I need some soil now here. Right. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just placing my tuber here inside my 5-inch containers, nice and cozy there. And I am going to cover them with soil. And right now, I am just doing my best at keeping them nice and happy here. And this is basically how they'll stay here. I need to make sure that I label them because I am going to forget. And my super fancy way of labeling things is just masking tape. And there it goes. So that's one. Again, this guy, I don't think that I caught any sprouts from this guy, but it has this root, so it wants to try. So it's going to give it a chance. This guy has all these roots here. Sometimes you just have to get messy. Yeah, beautiful roots from this guy as well. Beautiful roots. So I am going to finish putting all of these tubers in their own 5-inch containers. I'm going to label them. I'm going to put them in one tray where I can bottle water. And they're going to go under my LED lights. And the idea is that they're going to stay there until I'm ready to put them outside. But I already showed you guys how to do this. You can figure out how to put the rest in their own containers. I'm going to finish doing this. But I thank you for being here. And if you guys are doing dahlias, pre-sprouting dahlias for the first time this year, leave me a comment. Let me know how that's going for you. I hope that you guys were inspired today to do something. Thank you for being here. And until the next time.